How's everybody doing today? Man, we got a lot going on right now. A lot of stuff going on right now. I'm gonna wait a couple seconds here, let some people jump in quick. Man, what a crazy amount of stuff that's happening. But, you gotta wonder, what are they distracting us from? But we're gonna go over a lot of stuff. I'm gonna talk about the war for a minute, but I'm not gonna get super into it. I'm not gonna talk about what side and all that stuff. We're just gonna talk about some things with politicians, because it always seems to be, pre-planned, and we'll get into this in a minute here. But I'm just gonna let a couple more people jump in here quick, and we'll get started. Hope everyone's having a good day. Man, I mean, everything's starting to get to this pressure point with them. I don't like. Here's the thing: a lot of us, which we're gonna get into here, I'm gonna show you guys some numbers and things. A lot of us, like we said, the thing that they underestimated is our resiliency. We have been poor our whole life. A lot of people did not have a lot of money growing up, and you know what we were taught growing up? MC, thank you, I appreciate that. We were taught growing up, work hard. All of us were taught that. We're that middle class. We had to, actually earn our stuff. I've done construction for, I can't even remember how long it's been, like since I was 17, 18. And if you get into construction, let me tell you some stuff. I used to have to dig. We did decks for a long time, and I had to use that manual auger. The two wooden posts with the metal on the bottom, and you'd sit there and you'd scoop these things, and it would take you, like 2 hours to dig a hole, and you got to do about 12 of them. Wake up the next day and do it again. These guys, they've never had to earn anything in their life. They've just stolen everything. They've lived off credit. They've lived off their family name. They don't know what they're up against. Like I said, they were stealing from the iron workers. All the stuff is going to come out. But, when it comes to our government, like always, other countries, they'll always have that money to throw around. And, there's some... I'm going to send you guys this really quick. I want to show everybody this because, when it comes to this war, there's this documentary. It came out in 2016. It is insanely informative. It is insanely informative of the United States, on wars, on everything. The things they didn't teach you in school, or the things they kind of halfway taught you, but they didn't teach you the full things. They didn't teach you the truth about why, the American Revolution, the Currency Act. There's so much stuff that it's about 48 minutes long. But it talks about every single war is mainly for these banks, started by these banks. And if you guys look back and we saw with Ukraine, what was the first thing we talked about with the Ukraine war before it even started going on? Instantly, JP Morgan and BlackRock got a $500 billion deal to help build Ukraine. We've seen all the document, everything showed it. They got a $500 billion deal to rebuild Ukraine. So who was the beneficiary in the Ukraine war? Bankers. It's always bankers. It's always politicians. They always seem to know. Somebody always seems to know. If you guys look back and you see the 9/11 attacks, go ahead and Google this. There was a ton of random trades in the stock market. There's always trading activity randomly before these wars start. Well, like normal, Wales goes ahead and he exposes a lot of this trading activity through politicians. Now, there was some articles and some people when it came out and they said that this has been in the work for about several weeks, which puts you back into August. Now, what I thought was very interesting is you have a whole bunch of politicians right in August buying oil and buying stocks in defenses and war. They went out and bought a whole bunch of war stocks right in August. Perfect timing for this to all pay out. All of this shit. Here's the thing. We can get into the $6 billion. Should he have unfroze it? Some people are going to say, well, he exchanged it for prisoners. It was their own money. But yes, if you read about why we're holding it, like I said, I'm not going to get super into that right now. I don't want this to get all political and all this crap. They're all corrupt. They're all garbage. And they don't give a shit about any of us. All of this war is to profit for them and their friends. And it's just fucking sickening. But once again, you have all of these people, all of these congressmen already several weeks, the second this was all planned, started buying stocks. the coverage on this war was like you've never seen. There was already videos, there was reporters already there ready to rock. It's, I mean, like I said, it's just insane what is truly going on over there. Iran helped plot attack over several weeks. Like I said, this pointed it right at the exact moment that our people started buying. If you look at them, they're right in August. Where these ones are in August. Oil, right in August. Oh, wait. Sorry, I thought I was going to pull it up. Right, like I said, look at all these things. It's August, September. Right before. They always know. These guys always fucking know. It's just a complete joke. Like I said, this shit is always pre-planned. Just know that this shit is always pre-planned. And what happens right after they buy their oil stock? Boom! We jumping back. 85 a barrel. Politicians and all this shit, like I said, all these fucking guys do, they don't care about us. They don't care about bettering anything. And the thing is they're doing this by the billions. It's not like they're just doing this by a small amount, hundreds of millions, to where this isn't going to have an effect. You're going to keep seeing these ripple effects that we're seeing in other sectors that we'll get into in a minute. But this is getting to the point where they're not going to be able to stop this, to where, like I said, we have to win. I said from the beginning, there's only one thing, and we're going to get into the next thing that I've been saying forever, and I'm going to show you proof now, because I have proof. I have proof. I have been right about the CNS program, these ISDA contracts, these option manipulations, everything I've showed you with the overstock. I have proof of it, and we're going to get into that in a second. And I'm going to show you the fucking number, and you're going to go, what the hell? And I'm going to say, this is where I've showed you guys from that document from 2.5 years ago. CNS program has it all. This is where they hide all the bodies. If you look at an FTD report, it says CNS report on the top. It's because that's where they occur at. FTDs occur at the CNS level. Now, if you guys go ahead over here, and I'm going to show you this number, because we're going to go ahead and into this in a second. It is unfucking believable. Now, I've been talking about the CNS, like I said, for about 2.5 years. And this is the problem. It's because it goes through a netting program. And it's continuous netting, which means that they, like I said, we'll get into it in a second. It's just continuous bullshit. But I want you guys to look at this number here real quick. So one of the things that's happening currently, and this is the new proposal, this proposal tells you and proves everything I have been saying is exactly what they're doing. This is how they're doing it. It's through ISDA contracts. It's through these options. It's through all of this bullshit broker to broker. It's through the CNS program. And I've been saying forever, the CNS program, and I don't know how it never catches on. The CNS program is where they can do basically unlimited amount of stuff. And I'm going to show you 519 trillion alone was processed through this. And it turned it into, read this. We'll read this together. So this is through the document, which we're going to break down here in a second, because they're trying to change a lot of rules to solve a lot of this problem, because they thought phase 6 was going to solve this. But the problem is all the people that were supposed to oversee this in phase 6 are the corrupt fucking piles of shit themselves. Now, when you talk about the CNS program, who is in charge of the CNS program? It is fucking the DTCC, which we all know are the corrupt banks who are writing the contracts, along with market makers who are doing everything fucking illegal you can imagine. Now, if you go ahead and you read this report came out in August, late August, and it talks about 2022 alone. They're talking about we have to have more oversight in these contracts, these broker-to-broker contracts, because there's too much risk when they're not going through our obligations and they're not going through the CNS network. Now read this. We'll read this together. In 2022, it is estimated that netting through the NSCC's continuous net settlement program accounting system, it reduced the value of settlement obligations by 98%, or 510 trillion. It reduced their obligations from 519 trillion to 9 trillion. If they do this settlement outside of this, dude, let's get into this thing quick. SEC examines prohibited use of options to fake cover failure to delivers. They now want people to start putting more money into these programs, into the OCC, into the CNS program. They want them to have more money to cover all of this crap. Because look at this. When we break into this, here's the new rule. If you guys want to go ahead and check this rule out, read it with me. It is now in the link for you all. I'll let everybody go ahead and click on that link for a second. All right. So now, if you click on that link, you pull this up, we go ahead and we read this together. So what this talks about is they want more oversight. They want more money deposited because through these options that I've been talking about, because they're using these options and they're covering shares with these options. It's just like in the Overstock lawsuit. I'm not going to keep pulling up the same documents all the time, but it's just like I was showing you guys for the last 2.5 years. These guys are using flex options, married puts, and buy rights, and they're using it on broker-to-broker contracts. Now, if you guys read this, it's 400 billion. Hold on. 400 billion. God damn it. I'm in the wrong one. Hold on. No, this should be the right one. Oh, it's 300 billion. Okay. So they did a stress test through this program, okay? There was a demand of excess liquidity. So basically they were overdrafted by 300 billion. And that was by the way of broker-to-broker settlements. These are those contracts I've been talking to you guys about. They found people who were overdrawn by 300 billion. If they did a demand, everybody right now needs to boom, worst case scenario, the worst case outcome, 300 billion, and they don't have the money for it. They don't have it. And they know it. They're sitting here talking about we need to get more oversight on these broker-to-broker fucking deals. We want more of these broker-to-broker deals going through our program, through our settlement system, so we can have oversight and we can just go ahead and use our fucking cheating shit and we can turn 510 trillion of settlement value of obligations into 9 trillion. So now we don't owe 510 extra trillion. Because it's all fucking netted through this bullshit. And this is the number one thing that I keep saying. This is why this is bullshit. Listen to this. Listen to this one sentence. Benefits. Regardless of volume, they don't give a shit how many shares you take. They don't fucking care. You can take out as many shares. I don't give a fuck about the volume. I don't care. We're going to put it in to no matter what kind of stocks you take out. You could take out 15, 30 stocks. They don't give a fuck. And then they don't care how much it is. They're going to put the value of those stocks into one long or one short position. Just one long or one short position to the value of the stocks that you took. Now, to make that into picture terms, because there are people that fucking learn with pictures. And I want everyone to understand what is going on. Because the CNS program is a fucking goddamn joke. It is literally taking trillions. It is hiding trillions in obligations. And actually, it's hiding 510 trillion. 98% reduces the value of settlement obligations by 98%. 510 trillion to 9 trillion. What the fuck? Now back to this. Basically what you have, these are all banks. These are all banks. Okay? Now what these banks do is they go, hey, instead of us just sitting here passing shares, passing them back and forth, well, that'll get annoying to track. That'll get annoying to track. Let's just go ahead and say, I own these shares, you own these shares. I'm going to borrow from you, but what you're going to do is everybody that logs into the CNS program, every single one of these banks, when they sign up to the program, what they do is they deposit all of their shares, okay, into the CNS accounting thing. So this would be their accounting program, okay? So let's say I'm Goldman, and I just signed up for this program. What I'm going to do is I'm going to sign up. I'm going to put all my shares in here. And I'm going to say, here's my shares. Here's all this stuff. Now, anybody that wants to borrow it, you can go ahead and borrow it. And then from me, you have a short position. But if I give a position out, okay, so now, just to make this easier for people, you have broker 1 goes to broker 2, okay? Just to make this so easy. Broker 1 says to broker 2, I need 1 million GameStop. I need 1 million AMC. I need 1 million fucking whatever, SPY. Whatever it is, okay? SPY, okay? I need all this, and the value of those positions is money, whatever it equals. Let's just say it equals $1 billion. Obviously, it's not gonna, but just pretend. So now, what that means is, Bank 1, since he went to borrow this from Bank 2, he now has a short net position because he owes Bank 1. But what he does, instead of banker coming over here and saying, yeah, take these shares, he goes through the CNS program, and what it'll do is use Goldman's shares as a locate. Well, guess what? These fucking shares can be located and sent out to multiple fucking people. Multiple times. And all they give a fuck is do you have the cash money behind the value of the trade, or do you have currency? Do you have another position? Now, if you read on this, look at this. Investopedia talks about the CNS program, talks about, like I said, this shit is unfucking real. What are the advantages? It basically, so like I said, it minimizes the exchange of securities. So they're not sitting there passing them back and forth. They get to keep them in the CNS program. They get to keep that value. It sits there. Those shares are there. Even when they technically are loaning them out for fucking locates. It's bullshit. It's complete bullshit. Members' positions are netted into fucking one single position at the end of the day. They don't give a fuck regardless of volume. They don't care. It's just how much money value do you fucking owe. But you can use these as locates. Okay. Let's say this number together. 510 trillion. It reduced it 510 trillion. It reduced it 98%. This is criminal as fuck. This is where all the bodies are. This is where all the fucking FTDs are, where all the skeletons for all the stocks are. This is where all the fucking corruption happens. I've showed you this through multiple legal documentation. We also looked at this through the Overstock lawsuit. But we now have an SEC filing that shows the exact number on how fucking bad it is. 510 trillion. What the hell? What the hell? So now that this guy came over here, he's now short a net position. But since this guy got the shares borrowed from him, he is now long 3 million shares value, okay? So he now has a long position in the CNS program from JP Morgan, okay? Continuous net settlement. It says it in the name. Continuous net settlement. The biggest fucking crime, the biggest fucking charade, crack of shit, dumbest fucking thing in existence. It is literally controlled by the people who fucking write the contracts. And now they're scared because, hey, we have broker to broker deal. Broker to broker is the contracts.
There's over 300 billion that they can't handle. Yeah, I know. I've been telling people this for fucking ever. They have billions that they can't fucking ever catch up to. They can't do it. And now on top of that, you have fucking all these big banks at the trillions of marks. These are numbers that will never... There's not even this many assets, value in assets in the fucking world to come up with these numbers. The CNS program is where they do anything they fucking want. They create anything they fucking want, regardless of value. They are regardless of volume. They don't give a living fuck. They don't care. And it literally says it on their website. We don't fucking care how many shares you take out. We care about the net position that day. Well, Bigums, what does that mean? Well, that means I only owe the value of that position for that day. That means if the... Now listen to this. Now listen to this. Why do they do this? What is the advantages of this? Well, when you do it into a net position in one day... Read this. During a typical trading day, large financial institutions and their clients may repeatedly go long and short on stocks and ETFs, and many of these trades ultimately cancel each other out, but generate a significant volume of trades between individual shareholders. This is where a lot of your short fucking volume, everybody goes, where are they doing the short volume? It's all through this fucking garbage CNS shit. There's 3,480 people that can sit there and go into this bullshit. It even says it on this fucking Investopedia page. 98% reduces the value of payments. Like, dude. And now I'll sit here, like I said, read these fucking things. Go into this shit. The CNS program is a fucking gong show. Now watch this. Now watch this. This is my favorite part. Now I'm going to say this to where you can understand it. I'm not going to say it to where you read this and go, what the fuck? While CNS deliveries... No, not wrong one. Where is it? Yeah, no, here you go. While CNS deliveries are made automatically using member depository positions. Now remember, that's what I told you guys about. So Goldman comes in, he signs a contract, he deposits shares. Those are his depository positions inside of the CNS program, okay? Okay, now what that means is, so why you automatically use just those shares that are automatically deposited, so nothing else you deposit can be touched. Just those shares, members can be exempt short positions, okay? Members can be exempt short positions to avoid segregation violations and effectively meet other delivery needs. What does that mean? Members can be exempt on short positions if they're a market maker and they have an order to fill, so other delivery needs. So if somebody else has an order and a market maker is short on a position, well, I have to fill a fucking order over here. So I'm exempt on my short position value for this fucking share. Like, see what I mean? It's a complete fucking joke. It's a complete fucking joke. Now watch this. They get fucking dividends. They still get dividends on their fucking positions. On open positions, on long positions, they still get their fucking cash dividends, stock dividends, bond interest. They still get it all. It's still credited. On all these shares that they can loan out unlimited fucking times, they're still getting dividends. What? Yeah, it was 519 trillion reduced to 9 trillion. Through the netting. So through this process of being able to borrow unlimited depository positions, you reduce obligation value. So you reduce the value of the obligations by 98%, or 510 trillion to 519 to 9 trillion. If this didn't occur, if those trades didn't occur, if they occurred broker to broker, it wouldn't have been able to be possible. So they go, come on in over to our system where we can fucking cheat. We're really scared because these guys are doing ISDA contracts and they have over 300 billion in ISDA contracts that they can't cover. They can't cover it. But if they come over to our fucking CNS program, we can cover it because we can reduce the fucking value and the risk and all the bullshit because we control it all. Yay! Yay! Fuck these guys. Like I said, fuck these guys. They wonder why can nobody do anything? Why, like, dude, there should be a margin call worldwide, which is coming. We're going to get margin call moment. The world is now facing up to a 70 trillion in global losses. World is now facing up to 70 trillion in global losses. We're going to get into the banks here in a second. 70 trillion in asset losses and bond losses, in everything, treasury losses. Dude, this shit is going to get to the point. Like I said, the time bomb, we weren't wrong. This should have all exploded 1,000 times over by now. And the fact that it hasn't is fucking insanity. It is truly insanity. And it's all hidden behind fake numbers, fake bullshit. But like I said, the one thing they didn't understand, the one thing they did not count on, every single one of you guys are the most resilient people in the world. You're not selling. You don't give a fuck. You're not going to take a hit so they can become richer just because. AMC is turning around drastically. GME is debt free. Why the fuck? And they're starting to turn some things around. They need to update some. I believe, I like GME still. I believe that they need to update some of their business model because you can't sit there and keep going with dying, fading business models and say it's okay. Eventually, you got to change. You got to create new revenue streams. People can say what they want about AMC, but this time last year, we were burning $266 million a quarter. This year, we're profitable. And we shouldn't have been. And now we're a distributor. We're getting everything, alcohol, candies coming out. There's nothing but constant new revenue streams. That's what you want to see. Now, on top of that, one of the things that they thought, here, I'm going to skip around for 1 second here, because one of the things that they thought is a lot of people would give up. They would just sell their stock. They would do this. And the administration, like I said, they're all fucking trash and they all lie to you. A lot of the things that they go is we're not in a recession right now. Why are we not? In a recession, we'll look at the unemployment numbers and and this is why I fucking hate these guys, because they're fucking pieces of shit. They'll sit there and say, oh, whatever, look at this. Look, our jobs, it's going up, unemployment's going up. Look at unemployment's going up. But the thing that they're not telling you, the reason it's going up is because we're so fucking resilient and we don't give a shit. We're working 2 jobs. We're just going to deal with life because that's how we've done it forever. We're holding 2 jobs. This is an all-time high. Look at this, you guys. This is fucking insanity. Look at here. I'll pull up the years so you can see the years. Look at how many people have 2 fucking jobs. It's not that unemployment's going down. It's not that these jobs are being created and blah, blah, blah. It's that all of us are saying, well, we got to go get a second job and do what we got to do. So I said, I don't care if anyone knocks in me about my second fucking part-time job. Go for it. I don't give a fuck. There's also 44.7 fucking million people doing the same thing. Fuck off. Who gives a shit? And these are the numbers that are helping your unemployment to say, we're not in a recession. Yeah, you fucking are. You're in worse than a recession. We're going to show you guys numbers. We're in worse positions than we've ever been. We're in way worse positions in every fathomable fucking way than in 2008. You are now in a worse situation in every fathomable way than 2008. You guys remember 2 weeks ago? 2 weeks ago, 14 days ago. What was this number at? I showed you guys that the banks were at 400 billion in losses. I showed you 2 weeks ago they were at 400 billion in losses. From that last quarter, they have already jumped up. Well, this shows 18 days. No, they're at 460, but they already jumped up. I'm sorry. This is the wrong tab. They went up an additional one. God damn it. Hold on. Where's my numbers? Now I got this all fucked up. Here it is. Sorry. I knew it was five. So I showed you guys. It was at 460. It was 464 billion. They're now up 2 weeks later. 2 fucking weeks later. At 558 billion in losses in 14 days. 14 days, they accumulated an additional 100 billion in unrealized losses. This is going to not only get worse for these guys, you're going to see these hundreds of billions in spikes. You are going to see all of these fucking offices. They're going to have so many people on top of this default. The rates are going to keep jumping drastically everywhere. I want to show you guys something. This should make you fucking puke. This is the most insane thing I have ever seen in my entire life. So I showed you guys right now. So it was just at 9.1. This will continuously update over and over and over. You can go online, do the United States, do mortgage loan rates. Just Google it. It'll bring up the mortgage loan rate calculator, the average loan rate at that moment. It will constantly change. But one of the things you can do, you can come on here and you can go ahead and say, okay, what's the national average credit score? The average credit score in the United States is 714. So what we're going to do is we're going to leave this here in our average credit score. So our average credit score is 700, okay? Minnesota is a lot cheaper state than most states as well. Now, the average house is over $440,000. I showed everybody that it is $440,000 for your average. Now, one of the things people do is you got to go over here and look at your down payment. Now, who the fuck has 20% down on a $440,000 home loan? Nobody. Even asking for 15% is a fucking lot of money, isn't it? Asking for 15%, that's still a lot of fucking money. Who has that to just throw down? Go down to 10%. This is what most banks want. They want what, 10% down? So you need to throw down 40%. And a lot of people can't, they could throw down this. But no matter what, look at your rate. You're now officially over 9%. One of the things that I've been showing you guys, what is the Federal Reserve's problem right now? What is their biggest problem when they're trying to do fucking QE? What is their biggest problem right now? What is the Fed's number one asset? It's mortgage-backed securities. They're overcharging for houses, for securities, for things backed by mortgages that A, don't even exist anymore. B, are not valued at what they have to sell them for. The housing market the housing market currently is literally in the history of the United States. The housing market right now is the least affordable it's ever been in the history of the United States. You have 9% on a You have 9% on a $440,000 loan. 9%. God forbid you throw down 10%, you're looking at 9.1% over 30 years. Banks 4 months ago, when they started giving out home loans for the first time in history, started taking losses on giving out loans. Think about that. And since those 4 months have gone by, it has gotten way worse. They're taking even bigger losses every time they give a home loan, which basically means they're not going to be giving out home loans anymore, period. it's going to be basically impossible to get a home loan very soon here. And these bankers, God, dude, this is insane. The bond market is getting fucking annihilated. It is crashing. You have Bank America alone has $110 billion in losses on debt securities. $110 billion. All of these banks are fucked. 260 billion left the big four pieces of shit. So not only did Bank of America lose billions and billions and billions in deposits, they now have hundreds of billions in unrealized losses, so they don't even have anything to back those fucking... Dude, Bank of America is a ticking time bomb. I already showed you guys all of those federal home loan. There are so many banks right now that are literally holding on by fucking loans, by credit cards. This is going to get worse and worse. The pressure is going to mount and mount and mount, and it's going to get to a point where they're going to have no choice but to do something about it, or do something about these banks, or watch these banks get swallowed. These fuckers are going to start to eat each other. They're going to have no choice but to eat each other. We're all, like I said, we're all going, fuck it. We'll just go get a second job where we're going to stand our ground. Everybody's holding their stocks. Nobody's fucking giving up. A lot of people are still buying all the time. OBV shows it. I showed you guys how many different times we had an order imbalance on the buy side over the last couple weeks. It's an unheard of amount. People are fucking buying. Don't think we're not. And at the same time, what is happening? The government in the last 18 days has spent $513 billion more. They added $513 billion more in the last 18 days. They're spending $1 trillion a month. I told you guys by the end of the year, our debt will be over $35 trillion. By the end of next year, we will be at about $45 trillion. And people laughed. And I'm telling you right now, that is exactly what's going to happen. We will be at easily $45 trillion by the end of next year. And they're going to sit there and say, it doesn't matter. The spiral, it is unstoppable right now. Every time we spend more, the rates have to keep going up. See, there's a lot of people that think, well, the Fed will pause, and they paused, and maybe if they stop the rates... No, that's not going to do anything with fucking treasury bonds in this. They're going to continuously rise because what is happening? Nobody in the world wants United States treasury bonds other than Americans at this point. Because it's so fucked up for us at this point. A lot of people need to get into these money market funds to get that interest rate and get that percentage. What in the United States, what's going to end up happening is you're going to have the United States issue all this debt, and we're going to be the people that are going to buy it. We're going to be the people that the United States owes all this debt to. And it's going to be at 5%, 6%. I'm telling you, by it over halfway, a little over halfway next year, you will see 7% treasury notes. You will. Because we're not going to stop spending. Other countries are not going to buy them. They're fucking selling them by the hundreds of billions. 7.6 trillion is set to renew. Well, if they're think of how expensive that's going to be on the next new rate. How many of those people also are going to say fuck it? And now you need to sell now you're going to have to raise rates again because how many of these people didn't renew that you're going to need people to buy those that weren't renewed. It is a constant massive issue going on with these treasury fucking notes and these rates, and they're gonna keep spiking because we can't fucking stop spending at an alarming rate. We took away the ceiling and how much they can spend. They're going to keep fucking spending, printing. They're gonna come up with every war, every excuse to send billions here, billions there. They don't fucking care. They're gonna launder money everywhere over the world. They're going to unfreeze assets. Here's my thing. Biden could have got those people without unfreezing that money. That is my one stance. I'm not going to say I'm standing with this or I stand with them. That's none of my fucking business or concern. That's a religious war. I'm not going to touch on that. What I'm going to touch on is the fact that he didn't need to unfreeze it to do that. And the fact that this was proven over several weeks right before they knew those assets were going to be unfrozen. And then you're going to have the people, well, it was only going to food and this and that. Well, that frees up a whole bunch of money for that country, doesn't it? In other funds to now spend on this that they wouldn't have had to spend on these. You have all this equipment in Afghanistan, Iran, that was left over from our war. This is why I hate the government. You have one side, two sides. They will always go here, 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 leave this. And then we'll fund one side of the war, and then we'll send the other side money. Why? Because it all leads to more money for the banks. It all leads to more money for this. Like I said, I really, really hope everybody takes the time. If you have Twitter, here's a link. Watch this. It is the most informative movie I've ever read, dude. I mean, listen to.
Comprehending
just so you can listen to
just how many of these wars we have fought as a nation were fought for no other purpose than to force private central banks onto nations that did not want them. So we're going to have a few examples so you understand why at this particular time in history the United States government is mired in so many wars against so many foreign nations. And there's plenty of precedents for this. Now, going back to the beginning, the United States fought the American Revolution primarily over King George III's Currency Act, which forced the colonists to abandon their own government-issued currencies and conduct business only using printed banknotes borrowed at interest from the Bank of England.
See, a lot of people, this tells you every single thing that, like I said, that the schools should have taught you, and they don't. This is, like I said, this whole fucking scheme, this whole fucking system, it's been built on these bankers. Well, these bankers understand they're too big to fail. They understand they're above the law. They understand that they're richer than every single one of us. This is why J.P. Morgan is involved in everything. This is why they got away with being human traffickers. This is why they got away with processing $1 billion worth of people. Guys, how much is a person? How much money? $1 billion worth of humans were trafficked and processed because of JP Morgan, and they willingly did it. How many people is that? I mean, truly think about that. How many fucking people were processed and trafficked from people that worked at JP Morgan that later on visited the island? And all they did was pay $325 million in fines, and that's it? It's fucking mind-blowing. Like I said, they should all be fucking tried in any state that has the death penalty. And even that's not good enough. Seriously, fucking ridiculous. But when these notes keep going up, when these rates keep skyrocketing, because they have no choice but to skyrocket, you're going to have more people leaving the repos. Look at the repo number now. It's down to 1.2 trillion. We were just at 2 trillion. This is to the point. Everything is going to start to leave because the United States debt's going to be too fucking enticing to own. Everyone's going to keep going over here. And that's my fear, is when everybody gets into these into the debt in the United States, that's when you're going to default. And you're going to default on all of your fucking citizens. They've caused a death spiral that they cannot possibly get out of. Because everybody, like I said, you have no reason to stay in a bank. Why would you stay in a bank when you know it's a criminal enterprise? Why would you stay in a bank when you're only getting 0.15% fucking interest? But I can go get 5.5% over here, and that rate's going to keep going up higher and higher. I'm getting 5.5% more than I'm getting at a bank. 5.5% more is a big deal. That's a lot more money, especially if you have a lot of money putting into it. You cannot accumulate wealth in retirement and some savings at 0.1% that JP Morgan's going to give you. But when you can grow a retirement at 5.5%, at 6%, at 7% next year, everybody's going to keep leaving these banks. The FDIC cannot even insure as much money as they say they can. They can't. They already needed to be refilled after 3 banks collapse. What happens when 30 do? What happens when 50 do? What happens if 100 banks go down? They're fucked. And again, none of us have money to spend at the corporations that they own, which means all of them that are going off credit are going to end up selling off stakes of their company, just like Michael Jordan have to do. All these people are going to end up getting fucked over, dude. And it's going to be glorious to watch. If you guys look at this, a month and a half ago, I showed you guys the average mortgage for a house was at $2,600. It has went up $300 from five weeks ago. It is now $2,900 for your average house payment. $2,900. To now rent, you're at $1,900 a month. A brand new car is $740, up $26 from last month. Ridiculous. Everybody's student loans are back. The average one is $500 a month. The average student loan, car payment, and a house, you're looking at over $4,000. I already told you guys about the credit card, our total credit card. Everybody, we were over $1 trillion in debt on credit card. Looks like the average household balance is $7,300. Now, I showed you guys the average credit card interest rate is at 18%. So you need to assume that $7,300 is at 18% on their credit card. That is scary as fuck. Now, the average household have $0 whatever, blah, blah, blah. Now, I wanted to show you guys this. The average saving per household. The average saving per household is far less than it was at 2008 in the Great Recession. This is fucking ridiculous. Like I said, in every single aspect, we are worse in 2008. $510 trillion through a netting process. These guys, everyone asks it to squeeze. This is why I tell you guys, you want to squeeze, you make AMC as successful as you can. Get them out of debt. Get them out of fucking debt. Let the system fucking collapse on itself. If we want to sue them, we can now sue the fucking brokers. Now everybody's sitting there going, well, what if they make a consent form that if you sign up or whatever now that you can't hold them liable for their third party? Well, they can go ahead and do a consent, but you can also probably sue them first. We'll have one big lawsuit where you can sue them for every single trade before that consent. So we can still go that route and fuck them up. And I mean, people like Fidelity, which is why I said to go to Fidelity. Guess what? They're their own clearinghouse. Fidelity has no excuses. You will know it. Fidelity does it all basically themselves. So when you go through Fidelity, they have their own clearinghouse. They're their own broker. They have no excuse to say, well, we didn't this and this. You also cleared the trade yourself in your own clearing firm, you fucking losers. So why are you clearing shit that's clearly not fucking meant to be, that clearly doesn't have the collateral backing it? You have no excuse. You can't get away with that in court. You'll get fucked, just like you should. 510 fucking trillion. No big deal. 500 and I want to zoom in just so everyone can see this. Through the CNS program, you guys, we've reduced the value of their settlement obligations by 510 trillion. Holy shit. What's wrong, baby? Oh, I'm sorry. Was I playing with your laser pointer? I'm sorry, I'm not playing, baby. Murphy Brown says, hello, everybody. He's glad you're here to do some learning. But this is why I say, make AMC as fucking profitable as you guys can. Make your stock as profitable as you can. Because the number one way to say fuck you to these shorts, profit. pay down debt. Profit, pay down debt. You continuously do that, you have no reason for dilution. Like I said, our AMC is not going bankrupt anytime soon. They're getting better and better and better by the minute. They're getting more and more and more and more revenue streams by the minute. This is what I need to see. Yes, I wish it would have taken a lot sooner. It would have happened a lot sooner, but we had so much cash burn to worry about by the hundreds of millions. That was our number one obligation. It was. We had to fix that cash burn, and we had to shore up the balance sheet, and that's exactly what we did. And now we can start looking, like I said before, through these new revenue streams, distribution, the concerts. If we land that Megalopolis movie, that will be huge. Like they said, that should be a $500 million movie. It's expected to be massive. If we can start doing those movies on top of $500 million Taylor Swift's, dude, we're going to be fucking loving life, guys. We're feeling still really, really good about AMC. But like I said, this shit is just insanity. 9.1%. How is the government ever going to do QE when their number one asset is fucking mortgage-backed securities and it's the hardest time ever to sell them? And they're going to have to take losses. They can't. They can't afford to do it. So you can't afford to really do QE, especially at the pace that you want to do. So if you can't do that, how are you going to fight inflation? And this is my point that I'm showing you guys. These guys are fucked because everything is just counteracting itself. The feds are stuck between a rock and a hard place. You made your number one asset, which is mortgage-backed securities, impossible to sell. Good job, dumb fucks. Maybe print out some more money. Well, guess what? It's not like even if you do, you're not giving it to the people that need it to buy your fucking mortgage-backed securities. You're giving it to the criminals because you're stupid as fuck. And you're letting these people get away with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of billions, and no one gives a fuck. Like I said, guys, if you guys think that we are wrong, if you guys didn't believe me about those contracts that I showed you that should have been stopped by Phase 6, even the SEC was like, wait a second, you guys still aren't doing anything about these broker-to-broker contracts? You guys still aren't doing something? The last time we looked at this, you guys had $300 billion that you couldn't fucking come up with. You're over-leveraged $300 billion just in broker-to-broker ones. Just in broker-to-broker ones. What about the fucking bona fide market maker to broker? What about the bona fide market maker to bona fide market maker contracts? What are those at? We don't even know those numbers. But the ones we know about are over-leveraged $300 billion. I mean, like I said, the numbers, everything, and they sit there and they throw billions around. You guys, there's nations out there that don't have billions and billions and billions, and we throw it around like it's fucking candy. Trillions are something we shouldn't even fathomed or heard of, but they're thrown around like it's no big deal. Trillions. This is shit that we should never, ever, ever, ever happen. 80%. 80%. The United States printed 80 fucking percent. They printed trillions. We went from $4 trillion to $20 trillion. 4 to 20 trillion in a matter of 22 months. 22 months. They printed $16 trillion. In 22 months, we printed $16 trillion. And where did it go? Not to better any of your lives. I just showed you we're having the hardest time basically, this is the hardest time to be alive in the United States. Unless you're a criminal. If you're a criminal, it's the best time in the world to be alive in the United States. This is why I keep saying, write to your congressman. We need to fucking sue these guys. We need to, like I said, here's the thing. When people wanted to protest and shit before, I was like, you know what? That's not a bad idea. But at the same time, we got to do it correctly. And it's like protesting is like, okay, it's so hard to do it because no matter what, They're going to make you try and look like an idiot. You have to know exactly what to go at. And this is why I told the Marine and all these guys, oh, we're going to go protest. Well, number one, you don't protest outside an empty SEC building. You guys went on a day when that building was empty. There's problem one. Problem two, you have to know what the fuck you're talking about. You can't just go up there and say, well, they're cheating, they're doing this. You need to show factual information, lawsuits, things like this. And I know it's hard to do it in 30 seconds. So you better have your fucking props and your shit ready to go. Don't make it about you. Make it about the issues. And that's the thing I tried to tell them, and none of them made it about the issues. They all sounded like they're bitching, whining, and moaning. And we also know that protests, a lot of people are going to go protest, and either they can, there's a lot of things that can go wrong in it, but there's things we need to start to think and to talk about. And like I said, it's at this point where, yes, the system will collapse, but you need to be out there teaching everybody why. We have to show people why. Why in the living fuck do we have 2 jobs? Look at this chart, you guys. Look at this. Look at this chart from 1995. I want you to look at this chart from 1995 to today. Look at that difference. That is fucking insane. Like, the grasshoppers, the ants, like, guys, we do outnumber these fuckers 10,000 to fucking 1. Why do we allow these things? And this is why I want people to watch this documentary. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to watch this 4 or 5 more times. And then I'm going to break down a lot of the key things that it's like, guys, and I'm going to show you every single thing he says in this documentary. Literally every single fact. I watched this thing. It's a 43-minute documentary. I watched it for almost 4.5 hours yesterday. And every fucking single thing he said, I went and Googled just to make sure. And then I went and Googled this, and I verified it from 10 fucking different sources. This entire thing, this entire documentary, you can Google every single thing this dude says. And it's all accurate. It is all accurate. And they even show you the famous quotes that have been in histories throughout it, and show them talking about these situations. And then you look at it and go, well, that makes sense. And then they show you what a school taught you what those exact quotes were about. When you go, well, yeah, that literally doesn't make sense when you think about it. It only makes sense with this shit. And then they show you events, newspapers, real things that will show you that that's truly what it was about. But the bankers, all these people, just like they control the media, you don't think they control what your children fucking learn? You don't think that they control what the textbooks say? The shit's insane. And like I said, who is the winner of every single war? Just defense companies. Oh, you mean the people that all the fucking politicians went and bought in all their fucking stocks real quick right before? We know. Oh, we got to go ahead and get all these. Look at this shit. 7 weeks, you guys. This has been planned for several weeks. That means politicians, the day it was planned, went out and bought stocks inside of defense departments, defense stocks, military that are now worth a whole bunch more. So they all got rich because they suddenly had a feeling, hey, but I wonder if we're going to go to war, and let me go get some calls. These guys know this shit is always fucking planned. So like I said, people, he didn't have to unfreeze that. He did not. I'm not sticking up for Trump. I'm just trying to state a fact. He freed 50 people while he was president. And he did not release a penny. He didn't pay a ransom. He didn't do any of that stuff. People don't understand the ramifications from releasing that money for hostages. What you're doing now is any United States citizen that is abroad, you are now putting a price on their head, because now these guys know if I take a whole bunch of money or a whole bunch of these people, I can go ahead and negotiate and actually get money maybe released. And like I said, fuck this guy. Nobody here can defend fucking Biden. I don't care what blue. I don't give a shit if you're a Democrat to the core. The dude's a fucking piece of shit. The entire country is in shambles. Why this fucking loser eats a goddamn ice cream cone and tells us the dollar's the strongest it's ever been. The guy has dementia. The guy can't even figure out which way's off the stage. He's got to fucking go. We got to get these fucking politicians out of here. Becomes 2024. I need to get in some kind of house thing. And then you're going to watch me get assassinated when I throw out all the facts because these guys control fucking everything. It is insanity, dude. They sit there and they lie and they show you numbers like this, but then they don't show you the truth behind the numbers, that it's just more of us working because it's the harder times than ever. They sit there and talk about the housing market's not a problem. So you're telling me the housing market being the worst it's ever been in the history of the United States is not a problem? You're telling me 9.1%? Pick a state, you guys. Pick a state. I don't give a fuck. Damn, looks like fucking Minnesota is actually pretty expensive. I mean, we're talking, yeah, but we're still talking. I mean, people were just talking 8% the other day. Like, oh man, we might hit 8%. You're at 8.5. You're at 9. You're at 9.1. You're at 9.2 in Georgia. I mean, look at this. This is fucking ridiculous. 9 point. I mean, who the hell wants to live in Idaho? Look at this. I mean, Jesus Christ. Here's our cheapest one, Iowa. Nobody wants to live in Iowa because it's just cornfields. There's nothing there. And even that's at 8.5. Let me hit up the DC. DC area is 9.13. That is your average. The economy's strong as hell, he says, and then he bites a fucking thing out of his ice cream cone. The economy's so strong, we have $3,000 a month house payments. $3,000 a month house payments. $3,000 a month house payments. Some people make that on in a month. Some people make a little over that in a month. Now go ahead and add 3,000 and then go ahead and add one fucking car. God forbid you need a new car. God forbid you need a new car. $3,700 a month for a car and a house? That doesn't even count insurance, food, electricity, utilities. Okay. We need the world to understand. We need to fucking write politicians storm. I don't care what we do. We need to make people understand dark money and super PACs need to be removed from the United States, because until they are, the politicians who keep the criminals at bay, the politicians who are taking the bribes, who make the laws, will never work for the people until the $5,000 limit of PACs comes back. Until politicians no longer become multi-millionaires helping criminals and have zero consequences. We need to fix this. It has to get fixed. We need to start arresting politicians. We need to start being louder at this point. Wake up every person you fucking know. Show them all this shit. Show them this document. Show them these fucking people are over leveraged just in this contract department by $300 billion. Show them. Guess what? $500 trillion. Stop barking. You have neighbors. That's no. You will wait 10 minutes. We were out an hour ago. Come lay down, honey. You don't bark. Show them that $500 trillion of value was just kind of, don't worry about it. We'll go ahead and cheat. Like I said, this shit is fucking stupid. Show them what liquidity means. Liquidity. Here's a stock. I don't own the stock, but I'll sell you a share and give you an IOU. I have 2 days to buy it. If I don't buy it, it's an FTD. If I do an FTD, who cares? I have 1535 to get that taken care of. Well, I'm going to go ahead and not worry about that either, because I can go ahead and open up an option or just dip into the CNS program and borrow a share and reset my fucking FTDs, reset my transactions. They literally control FTDs and show you what they want to show you. They'll show you they covered and there'll be no price movement ever. They'll suddenly have price movement when they want, when people aren't buying, when people, like I said, it's always bullshit. They literally control the system with algos that are made for them. Think about this. I want you guys to understand this. What controls the stock market? Algorithms, right? What are those algorithms programmed to do? Those algorithms are programmed to make the person who programmed it money by any means necessary. So what that means is the stock market is run off of fucking programs that are designed to cheat. That is what the whole system is off. How can I cheat and steal from these people and fill it later at a moment where I can benefit off a couple pennies? What do I have to do that? How can I guarantee that 100% of my fucking trades I buy are profitable? I'm going to cheat the system and take a couple pennies here and there, and I'm going to have 65 billion in shares that I sold to people that I just won't cover. I'll just call them securities sold, not yet purchased. Liquidity is nothing more than I'm going to give you an IOU, and if I feel like covering it one day, I'll cover it. If I don't feel like covering it, I'll hide that value in swaps. And then I will never have to fucking cover your shit because I will sit there and I will reset this crap over and over any single time that they show me, hey, I have to see that you have these shares. I'll just dip into the CNS program and I'll take those shares. And I already showed you guys, there's now 3,500 members that are in here. There are 3,500 members that have access to these unlimited shares. 3,500 members. There are people out there talking about a second book. There was Lou, oh, there's a second book. There's a second book. There is a second book. It's right here. It's a book entry. The second book is called the CNS program. It is called the CNS book entry system. This is your second book. Here it is. Here's your real book. Here's your real prices. Here's your real shit. Here's your real FTDs. Here's your real amount of fake shares. Here's what they really owe you. It's all in a centralized banking system, in a booking system at the DTC, and the only way to get this information is to sue them and use a subpoena to get this, and you need to sue the DTCC and show them that they are not doing their job or they're allowing corruption, which we would need to lead to discovery. Well, we would need a lot of people, and this is what they also go on. Well, if they do a class action, the people that really only get paid end up being the fucking lawyers. So they hide behind more protection from lawsuits, this, that. Well, but we should be able to do a class action for $7 billion, $10 billion, dead serious. And people go, whoa, these guys are doing crime by the billions, by the trillions, and they're allowing it. Us being able to sue them for fucking $50 billion, that's one day's worth of work for these guys. Fuck them. Like I said, we got to figure something out here. This is why I want to, get a group, a whole bunch of people that have smarter minds. We need to, like Dave Lauer. I've been talking to Dave Lauer. I want to go ahead and get a whole bunch of people that have been working in this. We got to figure out more ways to get, our voices heard. I love We the Investor. I love that we found all of these things they're trying to do with that auction system. But we still need to figure out more things. We need to evolve too, because this shit is beyond disgusting. This shit is beyond criminal. We're talking about pedophiles. You're talking about child raping. Fucking disgusting shit. I just showed you they're dog fighting. I mean, Jesus Christ. They're running drugs for cartel. They are the biggest. If you got rid of these people in the world, let me ask you this. If there was no JP Morgan, if there was none of these big banks, if none of these corrupt people like Jamie Dimon, if Ken Griffin wasn't here, would the world be a better place? We don't need these fucking trashes. They do nothing but steal and make everyone else's lives harder so they can live and be billionaires. Fucking criminal. Like I said, they're mafia. They're bigger than any fucking mafia. This shit is insanity. This shit is honest to God fucking insanity. Stop paying taxes. That's the scary thing. You guys go down that road. You're now... all these motherfuckers can now IRS. They can now come after you, do all this That's what I'm saying. Like, we have to think of things because the entire system is set up against you, where if you do take a stand in certain ways, you get fucked over in this way and that way and this way. And the only way that they say to do anything, well, you guys have the ability to protest. Okay, well, unless we have a protest of 50, 60,000 people, they're not going to take it serious. You need massive amount of people. Well, how are you going to control 50, 60,000 fucking people? How are you going to make sure nobody breaks anything and makes it violent? Any of this stuff. Like, it is insanely hard to go down this road, because you got to remember, if it's not a massive thing, the media can always portray it as, here's a group of people just whining. Here's a group of people that lost and now are just bitching. We're gonna sway their words. We're gonna make it look this way. Like I said, they control fucking everything. We need to start getting people. I mean, think about this. We have a community of millions of people. We need to start finding people that we can start fucking going, all right, we need you in politicians. We need to put you in as independents and actually fund people like that and get them in positions to fucking make changes or be on TV to where they can't silence them every fucking day. Hey, look at this. There's our facts. These guys are all fucking criminals. And then every single day. Like I said, we got to get people that actually give a fuck. But the problem is once they start getting in there and suddenly they get, hey, here's a $10 million check, what's going to happen? So there's everyone has answers, but then when they have like, well, this could happen if you do this or this or this, they never have all the solutions. So it's like I said, we have so many people and everybody's so divided. We just need to realize, guys, we're all so fucked. We all just need to come together on this. Like I said, it's like, God, it's almost time for a fucking revolution again. It is. It's time for the second American Revolution. It really fucking is. What? Let me ask you something. What more could they possibly do to you, to the country, to people's children, to drugs, to this, to medicine? There's no money in curing you. There's no money in curing you. They're not going to cure your illness. They're going to do things that will slowly cure your illness, chemo, things like that, hey, if you come spend all this money, maybe you'll make it. When we already know we have cures for this. Because here's the thing. It's not like if a rich person, a super massive rich person goes and look at Magic Johnson with AIDS. Before there was anything, suddenly the guy's ready to rock here because he had money. Now, here's the thing. If there's a super rich guy and he has cancer, it's not like it's going to be announced. Nobody fucking knows. Nobody's going to know that shit but that person and his doctor, and they're not allowed to say anything, nor will they. So if they go and if some rich guy goes to a doctor and goes, here, I'll do whatever, I can pay whatever, blah, 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 and he suddenly gets a shot and it actually cures his cancer in a day, how the hell would you guys ever know? You would never know that. What happens if... Like I said, if there was let's pretend there was a shot. I'm just saying hypothetical. Let's just say there was a shot, though. And they could go up to you and you had cancer. They could pop it in you. And it was only for super, super, super rich. No doctors would ever let you know. All these doctors show you they're corrupt. They all show you. I will write prescriptions on whatever fucking pharmaceutical person comes over and says, we'll give you the bigger cut. Well, then I'll always prescribe that medicine. So don't tell me that they wouldn't do this shit. They're all in fucking debt like crazy. This is my point. You guys would never understand that. Maybe they don't give it to the public. Maybe they give it to certain hospitals for super high-end clients. We would never know. But what we do know is if they cure you, they don't make money off you anymore. Like I said, this entire everything is insanity. It's about money instead of bettering humanity. And that is what we should be focusing back on. That's what you need your politicians to do, to want better lives for their kids, better lives for their neighbors, better lives for themselves. Here's my thing. They printed $16 trillion and it went from $4 trillion to $20 trillion. There's plenty of money where everybody could fucking live good lives, happiness, shit. And you could call it and say, oh, well, you're one of those... Not communist. What's that thing? Where I'm not saying that everybody needs to get equal amount in this and that, but I'm saying, dude, like, there's so much money to the point out there. Nobody should be living the way that we are. Nobody should need to. If it goes from 4 trillion to 20 trillion floating around in 2 years, your people should not be suffering. Your people should be able to afford housing. They should be able to have a better life from that 16 trillion. That 16 trillion shouldn't have made their lives worse. That means it all went to every single dollar of those trillions of dollars was spent incorrectly. So this war here, the Iran war, all this stuff, we always have money, but remember, do you guys remember when they Chernobyl Ohio and not a single penny went there? Remember when they basically told them all, oh well, fuck off, but we'll buy your land from you for pennies on the dollar if you guys want to move. You remember that? So basically they told, we poisoned you to death, but we're not going to give you anything, and we'll buy your land. Maui's fucking, here, we'll give you guys $700 for the whole household. And the average household of Maui has 4 people. So $700 for 4 people to split. And then on top of that $700, guess what they did? They taxed that $700. So you're getting less than $700 to divide on a family of 4 when you lost everything. But at that same day, we'll send fucking 8 billion, 16 billion over to fucking Ukraine. But we don't have 5-10 billion to send over to Maui. We only have 100 million ready for them. East Ohio, they can fuck themselves. We just want to buy their land for cheap so Bill Gates can get some more farmland real cheap. Let's let Bill Gates get more farmland because he doesn't have enough fucking farmland. The guy's sending out mosquitoes that probably have diseases in them. The dude's buying up all of our farmland around waterways. That's kind of fucking weird, isn't it? But this is what I'm saying, guys. Like, everything is getting to the point where the corruption is so fucking deep. Like, this is ridiculous. But everything is mounting up to the point where something's gotta fucking break. You have 70 trillion in global losses. This is insanity to its core. All right, I'm gonna start checking out chats. If anyone has any questions, if anyone wants me to go over anything, go ahead and let me know in the chat here real quick. I pretty much went over all my tabs, but it's like, this is just insanity, dude. The moment I saw this number, the moment I saw all of this, like I said, the moment I saw the 300 billion of the broker-to-broker agreement contracts that I've been screaming about forever. 300 billion they're overdrafted. 510 trillion. This is insanity. But everything's turning around for AMC, and everything's getting harder and harder and harder on them. So be patient. Like I said, let's all start talking about some things on the next step. Let's start getting together here. I mean, like I said, if I blocked you before, I've been doing some unblocking on some people on a lot of stuff. At this point, we just need to figure out another step here. But like I said, if you did not watch my last video, please write to your congressman. We need that auction thing to go through. It is section 522 on the new financial bill. We need to say we want 522 removed. Let me pull that up one more time. We have to get rid of that. That is literally an insane thing going on. They're trying to defund the auction house because that is going to be the one thing that will kill. It will kill payment for order flow. And they cannot have that. They cannot have payment for order flow die. We need to write to our congressman to take that out because they're trying to basically do what they did to the CAT system. They're trying to defund it like they did the CAT system. And that way, even if it gets implemented, they don't have to worry about it because there's nothing they can do. They'll say, well, you guys don't have enough funds to go after these guys. We don't have enough funds to do this. We have to make sure 522 does not go through. It's on the new financial bill. I'm sorry, yeah, section 552. Section 552 on the new financial 2024 bill. Make sure you say we want 552 removed. Yeah, Evergrande, dude. Then they canceled their restructuring. Evergrande that's going down.
and that's more losses these banks are going to take. I gotta get going here though, guys. Murphy's going crazy again. It's dinner time. I told her to make dinner today, but like I said, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna get Peter on here pretty soon. Peter Hahn. I'm gonna try and get Dave Lauer on here with him. I'm gonna try and get a couple more people that I know in finance and see what they think. I would love to get Dave Lauer's opinion for sure because he's actually taking the steps with Congress, with We the Investor. He's actually finding a lot of these proposals, these rules, and telling us exactly how to make those changes. So I'm going to hopefully get a hold of here with Dave in the next day or two and set something up, and hopefully same with Peter. But thank you guys for listening. Hope you guys all have a great day. We'll talk to you guys soon.